Cal and I were playing in a ditch on the way home from school. Fifth grade. No, maybe it was third. I just couldn't remember. It had been raining for days, and the drainage ditches were gushing brown torrents. And there was one particular spot where the water fed into a culvert that ran under a driveway a few blocks from our houses. Normally, the ditch was at most a trickle, but the deluge over the previous days had filled it to overflowing, making the water stack up behind it to create a swirling maelstrom that was surely deeper than I was tall, at least 10 feet across, and nearly 20 feet long. My dad, and every other dad in our neighborhood, had warned us not to play near it when the water was up and running hard like it was that day, which of course made it all the more alluring. We were throwing sticks into the bubbling, swirling cauldron of brown soup at the far end where the channel widened and deepened, and watching the sticks shoot toward the culvert, where they would bounce and bob crazily until they got sucked into the dark tunnel of rushing, foamy, chocolate-colored water. I knew from playing in the area on dry days, the concrete chute was filled with an impenetrable tangle of brush, cemented in place with mud that had hardened into concrete, which meant, my dad had said at least 100 times, if someone fell in the water and were sucked into it, they wouldn't just shoot through to the other side. Instead, they would become hopelessly trapped under the water, beyond any hope of rescue. Instead, their body would have to be recovered after the water subsided. The thought sent a shiver through me. But I was a good 2 feet back from the crooked, steep edge, and all we were doing was tossing sticks, so what was the harm? Cal had run to a tree in the next yard to find more sticks. I turned to tell him to hurry because my dad would be coming to look for me soon if I didn't get home. But as I turned, I noticed Cal waving his hands over his head frantically and shouting something at me, but the roar of the stream was too loud and drowned him out. Before I could say I didn't hear him, the ground beneath me gave way. The incessant rain had saturated the ground, destabilizing it, and my weight, combined with the force of the current, had just been too much. Cal would tell me later that where I was standing was only about a foot thick, with the ground beneath me having been cut out by the powerful water. Before I could even cry out, I was in over my head. I didn't even know which end was up for a split second. But then I broke the surface, spluttering and gagging. I shortly realized, to my utter horror, that I was inching slowly, inexorably, toward the culvert. I tried to shout for help, but knew in that instant it was too late. Cal was too far away, and what could he have done anyway? I tried to swim toward the bank, but my clothes, filled with water, made movement in any direction nearly impossible. I was doomed. I knew it. The culvert's top couldn't have been more than 3 feet away, and the current began sucking me down to my certain demise. Suddenly, I flew up out of the water and flopped in a dripping, stinking, grimy heap on the driveway, coughing and spitting bits of leaves and other debris out of my mouth. I thought it was some miracle of science, but when I rolled onto my back, I was greeted by the glowering, red face of my father. His chest was heaving. Partly, I concluded as I thought about it in subsequent years, from the strain of dashing down the street and yanking me to safety, literally at the last second. And partly from the combination of relief at having not lost his son and rage at nearly having lost his son to a danger about which he'd warned me dozens of times. As I looked up at him, frozen physically and mentally, I felt certain he would grab me up and give the thrashing of my lifetime. And I would deserve it. He did grab me up, but then startled me by hugging me so hard it nearly took what little breath I had.